Hi, Sue friends, welcome to my channel. Once again, it's been a while, right? So I'll be showing you how to make this crinoline ball dress with the front design. The material I'll be using are doll face. This is 2 yards of doll face, and then the organdy and then net. So this is baby net. I have 7 yards here, right? And then the organdy is 2 yards. Okay, and then I have my interface, and then my net, hard net, and then the crinoline. Very important, make sure your crinoline is matching with the net. Okay, the net, the normal net they use for ball dresses. Okay, and then a matching zip and a matching thread. So these are the materials I will be using. Okay, and then so what I did is just use my pattern paper to just draft out the bodies. Okay, right? So the length of the top, that's the half length, is 8. The total length of the dress is 23, right? Okay, so I'll mark my shoulders. My shoulders is 5, and then the neck width is 2, and then the neck depth is 2.5. That is for the front. Okay, so I'll also be using this pattern for the back. What I'll do is just to come up on the neckline, the neck depth. So the neck depth for the back will be 2, will be 1, and then the width will be the same, 2 inches. Okay, and then I come down on my shoulder, half inch, sorry, and then from the half inch I'll mark my 5 inches for my armhole. Okay, and then I'll place the tape back on the start line, the shoulder line, and then measure, and then whatever I have is what I'm going to extend. Okay, square across. That will be my bust line. Right, so from the bust line there, I'm going to impute my measurement. Because it's a 1-year-old dress, the bust and the waist is going to be the same. So I have 20 inches. Okay, so that's 20 inches divided by 4 will give me 5, right? So I have my 5 inches. So from that bust line, I'll connect from the shoulder line to the bust line with a French cuff, giving me my armhole, and then I'll extend to the waistline. Okay, the waistline I marked 5 also, and then I added 1 inch allowance, and then I cut. So on the waistline I added half inch seam allowance. Okay, you can see I added seam allowance on the armhole. Right, so down to the base now. So this is the bottom of the dress. Okay, so the under the net, this is the base for the net. Okay, so I will be cutting a flare. I'll be using a flare for the base, right? But the net itself is gathers. Okay, so you know how to cut your flare. You measure your length, and then your waist divide by 6.28, and then you add whatever you have to the length of your dress, and then you fold, and then once you fold, then you can now measure. So I have here my radius and the length of my fabric of the length of the half of the bottom part together. So now I'm cutting out the radius. Okay, I have lots of videos on how to cut flare if you don't know, if you are not getting this part. Okay, so and now what I did here is just to confirm the length. Okay, so I took out the half length, which is 8, then I have my 23, and then I added my 1 inch seam allowance because we'll be folding it. Yes, we'll be folding it. So I cut out the base, and then I'll cut out the radius. Okay, so I now have my full waist complete. Okay, so here I cut behind the camera, I cut my back. For the front I added 1 inch seam allowance for the zip allowance for the back. Okay, and then I went up, like I said, on the neckline 1 inch. That's 2 by 1 for the back. Okay, so I'm measuring the waistline for the flare. Okay, that was what will determine how much of the net I'll cut. Okay, so I have 14. I measured 14. Okay, that's 14 when divided by 2 give you 28. Okay, because I will be doing tiny pleats, tiny gather on the waist. I don't want it exact. Okay, so that is why I have 28 plus seam allowance. Okay, so for the down part that will be gathered, so this is the net that will be gathered on the flare we just cut. Okay, so I took out my 8 inches. Remember the full length is 23. So I took out the 8 inches, and then I measured my 23, and then I added 2.5 allowance for the crinoline. We'll be folding the crinoline. We'll place it on the crinoline. We'll place the crinoline there, and then we'll fold it on towards the main 23. Okay, so that's why I added it. If you don't add the crinoline part, it's going to be short, except you don't want to overlap it. You just want the crinoline to be showing. All right, so that is it. So the length is the 23 minus full length 23 minus 8 for for the upper part, and then I added crinoline. So that is what I have now. I want to cut that design on the top. You see that fold, I don't know what to call it. Okay, that fold I added bead, I placed bead on. So that's what I'll be cutting. So here I fold my paper into 4. You can see the way I'm folding it. Okay, and then I'll measure 4. All right, so I measured 4. It was looking too big, and but I later reduced it to about 3. Okay, so I measured 4 like you're cutting a flea, and then you just use your pencil to mark, and then you cut it out. So after cutting out, you can see, just look closely the way I'm folding it. You can see how I'm folding it. It's quite simple. So you don't open, just fold as such, right? So once you fold it, you place it on your fabric. Okay, so this is what I'll be using to cut the design. You can see how it is. So I'll be using organdy. It's organdy I'll be using. Please try not to use organza. I'm not sure it's going to come out well. Okay, so I have 2 yards of organdis, right? So I will just fold the organdy the way I can manage it properly. Okay, so I'll fold the organdy, and then I'll place the pattern. Okay, the pattern, if you want to measure your organdy directly, it's fine, you can, but you cutting it on paper just makes it easy for me, because I don't know how you're going to start measuring. Organdy is quite silky, like quite soft, and it doesn't stay firm. So I have to pin it. Make sure you fold it properly, and then you pin it. You can see that I just folded the paper into 2. I didn't do it into 4, right? Okay, and then I will fold again, and then I will place. So that is how I will place all until I finish cutting as much as I want. So that will just be on the front. Okay, so once you finish cutting, you open, you have a full circle. Okay, so this is my full circle. This flounce now, peplon. Okay, so this is the lining. On the lining, I came down 1 inch, and then I gathered my net. Okay, the net should be about the same length with the lining. All right. Okay, so now this is the net, the one I cut. That's the 23 inches minus a half length allowance. Okay, half length for the upper part. So this is, I gathered it. So what I have here, I have about 8 yards. Okay, I have about 8 yards or thereabout. So it's the total waist then times 5. So whatever the waist is 22, I use 22, and then I multiply by 5, or you can multiply by 8. So as much as you want, if you want it very full. Okay, so that's the hem. Remember, we added 2.5 for the crinoline, so I just placed it, and then I fold it in and sew. Okay, that's just it. You first of all place, you sew, and then you fold it in and towards you. Make sure the net is covering it, and then you stitch. Okay, you sew again. So that is it. So that is how I sew it. So now you get your flea, that's the base, and then you place the gathered crinoline net on it. Okay, so you just pin it. So you pin the edge, one side, and then you go ahead and pin the other side, and then you spread the pleat. Okay, while you're spreading, you can pin or you sew while spreading, but make sure you spread it evenly, and you spread it in a way that one side is not fuller than the other side. It's going to show, kind of, right? So that is how you go about that. So guys, if you know you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please hit the subscription bell and click on the notification bell, the subscription button, right? Okay, so now I've actually done most of the design on the upper part. Okay, so this is, I'm just showing you once again the way I did. You can see the way I folded it into 4, and then you fold one side in, that's the bottom part in, and then you fold the other part in, and then you use your needle and thread to tack. Simple, nothing complicated. You can see how simple it is. So that's how I did all the pieces on the front design. So you can also do this for an adult. Okay, I just decided to do this for this baby dress. Okay, it's not limited to child, you can do it for anybody. All right. Okay, so that is it. You can see the way it is now. Okay, so make sure you knot. Okay, after stitching, don't just tack and then you leave it like that. Then you go ahead and place. Okay, so now when you are placing, you go ahead and pin first. All right, so this is the leftover organdy. Okay, so I'll just be pleating it. I'll just, you know how it is now, iron, and then you pleat, you sew. So I want to cover the waistline. All right, I don't want this thing to show even after joining the waistline, so it's still going to show a little. So I don't want it to show after joining. All right, so I will just be pleating that on the waistline. Okay, and then I went ahead to pin the design on the body. So when you are pinning, make sure you take out the line, don't pin it together with the lining. Okay, the lining for the upper part, right? So carefully place it and pin. Then after pinning, you can now tack gently. So you don't just scatter, you can place them together and tack carefully. Okay, so this is how I go about all the pieces I got from this design. Okay, you can see you can just cluster them together, and then I think it's better that way when they are clustered, right? Okay, so that is it about that. So this is the bottom part. Okay, so I'm going to measure this bottom part. I'm going to measure the length of the flounce I'm going to place on it. So remember, I'll be placing flounce on this bottom part just to make it fuller. Okay, so the full length, you can see the full length I have there is about 15. Okay, so and then this flounce will be high and low, right? So the high should be 10, will be 10, and then the low will be 5. Okay, so 5 plus 10 will give you 15, right? So you'll be cutting 15 flay. Okay, let me call it flay, but this time you're not cutting out the radius. Okay, you can see the way I cut it. Okay, so now you cut it. So here I actually made a mistake here. So I folded it 15. Okay, actually I was supposed to fold it 7.5. That's the 15 divided by 2, because it's folded. But now I'm cutting 15. So what it means that once it is open, it will become 30, and that will become too long. That will even be longer than the down part. Okay, so now I'm correcting my mistake here. So my 15, now I divide my 15, that's the 15, 10 plus 5, and then I'm marking it. I divided it, that is 7.5, and then I mark it, and then I'll cut it out. So this is the flounce. Okay, so you can see how full it is. It is, you don't cut out any part, just cut it round. That's your full circle actually. So you cut out the full circle. Now it's time to place the crinoline. So what you should do is, to that 15, I added half-inch allowance. That's sewing allowance. Okay, it's very, very important. Add half-inch sewing allowance, but if you don't add, it's fine. Okay, so now this part, you're going to get your lighter. So my lighter refused to come up. Okay, you know how it is with this type of lighter, so I decided to use my matches. Okay, and then you burn the edge. Make sure you burn the edge. You know, crinoline has a way of just itching somebody. Okay, and because it's a baby dress, you don't want anything that will make the child uncomfortable, right? So I'll now use my net to fold. I'll fold my net twice just to cover the edge of the crinoline, and then I'll place it at the tip. That's the hem of the full circle that we cut earlier on. Okay, so you place it and then you sew it round. Okay, so you place and sew, just take it gradually and then you sew round. So while sewing, because it's a circle, sometimes it may look like it's not going to lap very well, especially when you are as you progress in the sewing. Okay, so what you need to do is just to place your hand, is just to use your hand, place it and sew, and after sewing you burn the edge again. Make sure you overlap it and then use the net to cover it. Sorry, I didn't mention, so I cut a straight piece. The straight piece is the same length with the crinoline. Okay, so I placed it under the crinoline. Please, you can go back and watch it. There is a straight piece of net, 2.5. I cut it 3. Okay, and then I place the crinoline on it, then I sew. So once you place it like this, you overlap it after sewing, and then you can see the way I'm folding it inside. The half-inch I used to sew, I added to the net. That's the straight piece. I can now fold it inside. That is, but if you don't add, it's fine. I can now fold it inside to just cover the edge of the crinoline. Okay, so that the net will not be showing that there is a straight piece of net there. I hope this is clear. So I cut a straight piece of net, 3 inches, and then the crinoline is 2 inches. I placed it on the crinoline, and then I placed it on this full circle that I cut, and then I sew. So that is how you sew round. Okay, so after sewing it round, now it's time to top stitch it. So once you fold it in, you can now top stitch. So it is this top stitching that may not come out flat, that may not, because it is not on a straight line and it is crinoline. So and because it is a full circle, so when you are top stitching it, you are overlapping it, it may not be straight, right? So all you need to do is just to use your hand to press it. So I use my fingers, like, right, see, I'm pressing it. Okay, I'll press it down and sew. Then make sure you fold the allowance inside. you put the allowance inside the, you tuck it in, okay. So that is how you keep sewing. You can see how it is. So this is what you get after sewing. So it may look like it's not, it's difficult, especially when you are overlapping it, but it is possible, right? So now this is the pleated part that I will be placing on the waistline, okay. So I just folded, I ironed, and then I folded it half, how 1 inch. I overlap it 1 inch, and then I sew, okay. It's good you sew it down so it doesn't scatter, okay. So I sew it, and then I'll cut out the excess, and then I'll place it. You can see I've gone ahead to tack the this design on the upper part, okay. I arranged it, I already show you, and then I tacked it. Now it's time to place it, okay. I discovered it's it's too high. It's almost covering the first step of the of that design. So I had to fold it inside and then reduce it. Okay, so do what you want. You can decide not, you can do a straight belt, right? I don't want to do a straight, but I just need something to just something different. Okay, you can place a straight belt there like a band. Okay, and then I sew it, I stitch it on the waistline, and then I'll cut out the excess. Okay, the excess I'm cutting is the pleated, is the pleated band. Oh, I'm cutting the excess of the pleated band, not my waistline. Please make sure your waistline is intact. Okay, so and then I'll open the side of the side of the top of the half length, and then I'll tuck in the waistband inside, so it's going to go into the side seam. Okay, you are not supposed to leave it just flying around. Okay, so that is it. So I cut 7 of these, right? So I'll be using 4 for the front and then 3 at the back. You can see how it is. It's quite, so when you're overlapping it, it's quite difficult a bit, but like I said, just use the technique, place your hand on it and then sew it gently. All right, so this is it, guys. You can see the upper part, I've already stitched it to the base, and then I folded the base because the base is full circle. Okay, so you can go ahead and overlock it and then fold it once. But what I did, I think I folded it once and then I folded it again. That's the best way to overlock, to sew a pleated a full flay skirt, a full flay, if you are not overlocking. So I'll measure my 5 from the top. Okay, you can see what I did. I measured my 5 and then I'll fold it the way as seen. Okay, so measure your 5 from the top and then fold, so that will give you high, low. Okay, so that is how you can see the way I picked it after folding it. So that part I pick is where I'm going to place on my waistline, and then I'll pin it down. Okay, so when I pin it down, and then I'll mark 3 inches apart. Okay, so you can mark 3 inches apart or 2 inches depending on the size of the waist, and you can do more. Okay, so because of my fabric I couldn't do more, so I'm actually okay with the one. If you want it very very full, you can do more. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. I measured the 5, that's the low, and then I'll fold it into 2. I'll fold it again, and then I'll pick it, and then I use my chalk to mark that part, and that's the part, the space between the first one, and then I'll place the second one. I'll tack. So after tacking, you go ahead and then stitch it. You can use needle and thread. You can use needle and thread to tack it after pinning, or you can sew it on your machine. So I ran my own on the machine. This one I did it on the machine. Okay, so that is what I'm doing. So I'll do the same thing to everything. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and so you can see how full it is looking. So the crinoline is giving it structure, is making it look coily and all that. So you can see, so once you're done, you go ahead and arrange it. Very beautiful and very easy, right? Okay, so guys, so this is what you do, and then I went ahead to join the upper part to the down part. So this is it, guys. You can see how it is, and I also added beads. So it's looking too blue, so I had to tack bead on it. Okay, just to give it a different look. So this is it, guys. If you got value from this video, so I want you to subscribe, like, and leave a comment so you can see the inside. I didn't want the video to be too long, that's why I didn't show you the stitching of the inside. So I used the lining to cover the armhole, so it was fully enclosed. Beautiful. You can see the base, and then the net I sew it 1 inch below the waistline, and this is it, guys. So I also did a belt. I added a belt, so in case I don't want to do I don't want to do the bow. Okay, so you can see the press button for the bow. Okay, so it's optional. You can do either of them, or you can do both. So I did a belt because the dress is oversized and I needed it to fit well. So we tie it to fit the girl, and then we'll now use our bow at the back. Okay, it's not her actual size, so that was why I did a belt. So this is it, guys. Isn't it beautiful? It is actually beautiful, very simple, straight to the point. So like I said, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave us a comment. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.